Good afternoon from the breathtaking Blue Lagoon in Iceland. How are each of you? Your wonderful seed sprouts and seeds of a beautiful hypothesis to incarnate on Earth and try to support it and help it in different ways. It's Asarana and Pear here, and we're going to talk about what it means to be a star seed or be a seed on Earth. My darling Pear wants to say something to everyone.
Good afternoon to my wondrous starseed family. Asurana and I are grateful and support. Thank you for all that you do to help our planet.
Thank you, sweetheart. All right, let's continue. We know that there's roughly 2,400 of you that are returning to your seed origins, and about 600 had fallen out. We're still unclear why there was a fallout, and many of you may have felt less than supported, less than connected to Tao and Tao, or even the land as this occurred. For some, it may have occurred a year and a half ago. For others, perhaps longer. But whatever it is, we're here to tell you that the foundation of the seed system is under reconstruction, and you are embraced by us as Seed Tao in this time period. There are 45 seed Taos all told within the seed system. You also have a personal Tao of birth and a Tao of the region that you work with, and sometimes a Tao related to your transfusion. We're another level of Tao that is here for you and here to help you and support you in your life, dreaming, your life streaming, in the instruments that you transfuse with, in the endeavors that you share with others, in the beauty and grace of who you are as a human being of a beautiful archaeology and anthology of truth. As someone who has mastered their ascension and desires to motion on and master light wave synergy. We're here to bring to you new systems that will allow your transfusion and your mastery to unfold in bigger grace. Gracelessness is a standard on this planet, and gracelessness is an odd word, I know, and we're using it deliberately. It means that things don't unfold in beauty or harmony or peace amongst humans. Some humans may harmonize, some may be beautiful, and some may be peaceful, but generally all three don't occur in one human at the same time. That's a weird thing because the beautiful one may entice people to be very bitter or angry at her or him because they may be beautiful but not peaceful or graceful or harmonious in how they relate to others. The one that's peaceful may not be beautiful in the eyes of the beholder either, which is sad because peace and beauty generally unite to create harmony. So the peaceful one may harmonize but be viewed as homely or viewed as something less than beautiful in the world of themselves, in the world of yourself or himself or herself, and that's sad too. The one that harmonizes may be very much in the background and not noticed at all because they harmonize everything, but nobody acknowledges that they even exist. So they feel existenceless, or like they have no voice or no capacity to say anything because they're not granted a position in the group, because all they get is the position to harmonize. The beautiful one can be a big spokesperson, and a peacemaker may be a force that speaks to the need to be peaceful or to try to make peace with one another. But the one that actually harmonizes the clan has no voice. The play of humanity is extremely distorted, and that's what we are choosing to examine and speak to a little bit today from a standpoint of seeds or star seeds. As a star seed, you don't agree to a play that says that you have to harmonize and be in the background, not. Many of you are harmonizers, and you have a very background position and say very little. Many of you are peacekeepers, and you try to tell people how to take a stand for figuring it out and complimenting one another, and maybe you're very vocal about that. Some of you are beautiful, and in your way try to be kind, but find yourself perhaps causing or calling jealousy or other weird experiences to you in the beauty and grace of who you are, when ideally as a seed you would be beautiful, peaceful, and harmonizing all at the same time, creating very synergized experiences as the beautiful one. That would be true for the peacekeeper. You will be beautiful and harmonizing and create very amazing experiences with yourself, with everyone. The same is true with a harmonizer. Not only would you create harmony and peace and be beautiful, but you have a voice, and we've examined each of you, and generally you're one of the three. There is a fourth position that sometimes occurs with seeds, and that's the truth position. The truth position may assert themselves as a teacher or leader in a seed system of others or with others on the planet that are not seeds. There are 3 levels of seeds that were attempted in your society in ascension skills. One is the real seed that has an anthology and a holographic archetype that's whole and complete and strives to master its motions of forgiveness and compassion and into a peaceful state that anoints and cares and sways with others. that's true seed jurisdiction or true star seed position. Then there's seed sprouts. And these are people that perhaps come from broken anthologies through time on planet Earth or from other creations. But they desire to be near seeds and try to fix their anthology or heal in a way that allows their anthology to heal too. Lastly, there's seed sproutlings, and these are ones that adjoin the seed sprouts and should try to support the seed sprout entrance into healing, but sometimes does not. Most will find yourself in clusters of people, whether you're at work or at home or in some other endeavor, a spiritual church or something else you associate with. Even school, where you will notice that there are seeds, and one of them is you. And then there's a lot of seed sprouts. And then there's a lot of more seed sproutlings than anything else. Most of the seed sproutlings might want to mend, but really don't have interesting focuses on spiritual purposeful missions through time in their life. They're interested in other things. Some of them might want to party. Some of them might just want to hang out. Some of them may want to be bitter, too angry, too very disturbing to be around. Some of them may be kind and really try. Some of them may try to be happy. Whatever it is that you've experienced as a seed with either seed sprouts or seed sproutlings in a journey to map all of its own, you will see that each has a position in the wheel of an anthem of possibility of human behavior that's also within you. We know Shatar spoke to the wheel of possibility of the human drama within you in some of his articles, and it is very much there in the seas. So, in a way, you're a director of the clan or director of the group that you draw to you. Seed sprouts do not direct. They don't have a wheel of drama inside of them any longer. And certainly, the sproutlings have nothing at all hardly to call anything to them other than what they remit in the behavior that they exude. So they're reactive. Sproutlings are reactive. They react to everything, and they can't control it, nor do they have much understanding about cause and effect, or forgiveness, or anything else. Seed sprouts were supposed to develop an understanding of forgiveness and compassion. Many tried, but most failed, And that's in the examination of the Sea Mother Tao. Now there are 45 seed Taos, and there's one Mother Tao. Mother Tao is a big Tao of the seas, and she's analyzing each of the clusters that formed around each seed. Each of the 2,400 to understand human behavior in this cycle. The seas hold the wheel of possibility of who's going to come to be in the drama of you. And as you forgive a particular drama you're not fond of, then it disappears. The people that can't concede to another behavioral airstream have to leave, and so they do. Sometimes that's disturbing too, because in some deep level, you really don't want to be in the center of the drama. Sometimes the drama starts over on the side or over on the back side of everything. And sometimes it involves you right on the side, and sometimes it involves you right in the middle of it. If the drama happened to occur right around you, that's a sad thing to have happened, because in its own way, you don't really want to be in the center of the stage of conflict. When that happens, it's very disturbing, and you may have many sleepless nights for weeks or even months after something really disturbing happens to you. But sooner or later, you forgive the character within yourself that is the drama person that caused you to be upset. And sooner or later, either you kick them out of your life, or leave them, or they leave you. Sometimes they leave with a spillover of anger or something else that they can't quite understand or not understand in this lifeline of themselves. We're going to talk to you about these dramas that you tend to foster with seedlings and with seed sprouts. Seedlings are another level of seed that is a seed maybe, and thought in their own anthology that they were sincerely a seed. They were admitted for a time in the seed system in the ascension auspices of Shakta and Vishnu. And so the seedlings came into the seed system, and at one point we thought we had about 3,000, and now we're down to 2,400 legitimate seeds. The seedlings are an offshoot of something that thought it had an anthology to your egg. And sometimes some of you have a seedling intertwined with yourself or your foundation or your egg gate. If you have one or more seedling in your egg gate or in your foundation or in the south of you, we want you to release this now. It's not useful to have ceilings embedded into you, or trying to sprout in you, or trying to take over your transfusion or your light sway. If they get close to you in your life, that can even be worse in many regards, because they become terribly invasive into the truth of you, thinking that that's their truth, you see. And we appreciate the ceilings. There haven't been that many, 400 really, through time, and it's not that many. But although there's 400 that we know of, some others may emulate ceilings in your life that aren't a part of the actual dance that your sea Mother Tao has annotated as having been so. And so, anybody holding the position of a ceiling near you, even if it's a family member, a former boyfriend or girlfriend or spouse or child or whoever else in your life that may have been close, roommates included, it's time to let these go too, so you can be pure to the sea truth of you and not someone else. And if there's something they've acquired, it's time to retrieve that too, so you can know the fullness of you as a true starseed and not something else. Starseed systems are elaborate foundations of labyrinths, of gateways and pathways for analysis of you, for information, for holographic truth, formulations, for Tao and Tao support that are related to the ontology of you and the seas in general. For systems that may have opened or fluxed, that are national or regional, that are related to your ontology. Seeds tend to sprout real star seeds, sprout systems that help people in the region that you were born and the regions that you've lived. Sometimes those systems may have been harvested or injured, and the Tao of the sea system is going to work on gathering back everything that every star sees born in the regions you've lived or moved to through time, or even transited in visiting to gather back the holographic knowledge and system base that belonged to your original starseed casting, so we leave nothing behind upon earth. The reason we're gathering starseeds back has a lot to do with the stature of Earth herself. She's in a very unstable light motion, and we know of a gate that crashed in Idaho, that then it went on to crash in Tibet, and it went on to crash in 8 other places, including New Zealand. These kinds of crashes are very injurious to light wave motion. They're injurious to the planet, they're injurious to seas that are transfusing heavily like Asarana Empire. they're injurious for us to remain. So there is a motion of homecoming that we are ordering as the Seed Mother Tao and the Seed Father Tao to say it's time for our seeds to come home, because what is happening upon planet Earth may or may not be right for you in 35 years. We have an origin and a time that we were to be retained upon the planet, maybe through about 2150 was the original targeted time that we would be here to witness the emergence of light wave motion and what it did to civilization, what it caused, how civilization reordered itself, and how it was going to improve, motioning towards peace and unity and something beautiful. Now, with all the irregularities in gates and other things, that alignment of peace may or may not be viable in the human kingdom. Without peace and with nuclear instruments, we're not sure what that could mean. We're not assured that it will be a nuclear winter, but we know that as real starseeds, we need to go home, because you don't want to be in the middle of a nuclear winter and having your seed origin blow up too. That would be a bigger travesty yet than anything else that may have occurred in your lifeline or in the lifeline of anyone else that's been incarnate on this plane of reality that is rather brutal in its energy systems. So we're not lying to you with mesmerizing glory that everything's perhaps going to be okay in this light cycle ahead. We're being honorable to you and honorable to Asarana's causal Tao to say that there's a problem and we're not sure it's going to be resolved or absolved. And so as a result, we're calling our seeds home. And we're saying it may be time to go home in the next 20 years. Whatever that means to you, you will go inward and introspect. But homecoming is also a beautiful experience with the Seed Mother Tao to be embraced, to be witnessed, to be understood, to be found compassionate over your life stream, to be loved and caressed for your experience as a seed upon earth, and that is her role in this cycle. Compassion and love is a system of seed experience always, as is other things that each has to understand too, called karma. But whatever it is, this has been a very difficult place in terms of karma, in understanding who you are in relation to all the other forces that roam around, and it's confusing to say the very least. So all we're going to say about it is to take a moment now and forgive your position in yourself, in relation to your life, in relation to the non-physical, in relation to all others that are seed sprouts or seedlings or seed sproutlings. Whatever it is that they have played in this drama of your life and of your fostering and each thing that you have attempted. Take a moment to forgive them for being in the drama of you. Now that's a tough one. Take a deep breath, okay? Let's take a deep breath. They've been in your drama because as a starseed, you broadcast a drama upon a group of people, and that could have been your family from birth. That could have been your adopted family if you were adopted. It could have been another family-like experience called work or roommates or school or friends of kinship or soul family need. Whatever it is, you generate the drama within you and in a deep sense need to forgive it in the will of you, and then it can change in the will of others that surround you that may harmonize better with this experience that you have generated as a seed, a star seed of you. That's a hard one to grasp. In other civilizations, each generates the screen from which the group forms, and so they each need to take responsibility for whatever that emulates about you to you. It's not about them or their behavior. You can't control that. If you had something in you that attracted something very nasty, then you need to forgive you for harboring something in you that called that experience into your window pane of life. And that's the circle of completion in the dream and the drama of this place called Earth. In order to complete, you have to forgive the role you played, but in seed, you also have to forgive the will of possibilities of behavior that others reflect in your window pane of life too. Then there's a completion with a particular drama or trauma that can finally be put behind you. We find with seeds that there are many earmarks over behavior that can show up in your window screen of life. We want you to take a moment to erase all the earmarks. And this is another problem because sometimes seeds discover that they draw the same pattern to them over and over again. No matter how much you forgive it, it seems to be drawn to you again. You've got the same archetype for a loss, or the same type of partner for a time, or the same behavior out of your child, even though you keep forgiving it, or the same experience again when you thought you had finally completed with that experience once and for all. The last time you've had it, and suddenly it shows up again. So it's time to erase the earmarks that demons impose upon people's window panes that cause that behavior to you that you have already forgiven and completed with it another time of your mastery of ascension, or even mastering into light motion. Light is one of those things that will call these earmarks into your lifeline more rapidly than sound, so it's just a trauma awaiting waiting to happen if you don't erase these earmarks. We would suggest that this is a monthly focus, that you erase earmarks that demons might have put on your window pane of life, that might call ugliness to you, that really should be offset because you've already forgiven it maybe more than once in this live stream of yours. The window pane should align with the real will fabric of cast of characters that you're dreaming within you, and it should be broadcast out into the world, attracting only that. It's a very odd experience not to have control over the window pane of life for most seeds, because even from ascension dreaming, that you reject dark dreams and attract light dreams and keep attracting to you the vision you hold for your live stream, and sooner or later something like it does show up with enough focus. Now in light, focus does do that, but light has a way of bringing in dreams without a lot of effort. So the focus may be only once, and suddenly the dream shows, and with an earmark, suddenly a dream you're not focused on shows and creates kind of a sick encounter, and you ponder why you called that to yourself when really it's something that perhaps belongs to another, and they impose the earmark on your screen rather than experiencing it in their lifespan. Wherever that it came from, don't earmark it back because it's not only unkind, but it's a system that you wouldn't understand enough to do it right anyway. So let it go and forgive it, and learn to erase all your earmarks for anything that's not true to the drama wheel of you, in you, and you that you're trying to experience and express with others in this plane of reality known as Earth. Okay, we're gonna change a picture here. We're gonna change a picture. This picture here is the one that Asarana called to her in Iceland. It's two beautiful horses, and they posed for Per and Asarana along that Icelandic reservoir that Per was driving around, and Asarana couldn't help but ask Per to pull over the car so that she could take a picture. Horses in Iceland are very, very conscious and very much aware. You can see the spirit or soul of horse, and the brown one in particular, because it has a shimmer to it that's a light motion that shows that this horse was transfusing. Not all horses in Iceland were transfusing, but this one in particular has a beautiful light glaze around it, and if you were to measure it, you might even see the light is 40 or 50 feet around the horse, which is unusual. But the horse kingdom brought a light motion horse to show Asarana what that meant of what that is from another time period when all kingdoms emulated light like this. In this time period, nature is not receiving light glaze or receiving light coats or anything, and that's very sad to witness by the causal Taos and Taos of the planet, but also the Sea Mother Tao. She says all of Earth should be coated in light if light is motioning in her gates, and yet the system to allow nature to emulsify in light is missing. That was one comment by this horse, who happens to have an owner that puts light coats around her, if not all the other horses in the field. She gets light coats because he loves her very much, and she is a beautiful mare. She says to all of you to be in the sea sprout system of yourself and nowhere else, because in the sea sprout system you will be light anointed. You will find where you need to be. You will go where you're needed in your life, and you won't impose yourself in a place you don't belong, and you won't create a circumstance of disaster for yourself. To Asarana and Pear was that their presence is needed in the Gold Canyon region of Arizona in the U.S. due to the light gates and light rivers there. Their presence was in Alta, Norway at the time. Therefore, they chose to purchase a house in Gold Canyon, Arizona, and split their time between residing in Alta about 6 months of the year and in Gold Canyon for the other 6 months. We share this news with you in webinar 4. We have been in Arizona for about 2 months now. In any case, sea sprouts need to be where they belong, which is with your Sea Mother Tao and the Seed Father Tao in every dream you airstream, every light instrument you work with. Every light coat you bring around you should have a seed authorization system in it, around it, through it, and participating in your transfusion. So if there are systems today that don't work with sea systems, let them be removed. Allow the non-physical forces that don't really belong with a seed to depart with them, and allow new instruments and new systems of non-physical that harmonize and resonate with seeds to show up in the window pane of you and also in your light stream. Allow it to be whole and complete today and forever, and remember that this is the only type of light stream or light code or light inauguration system you should ever participate in wherever you live or transit. It's a beautiful system for sea sprouts and other humans receive collective systems that may or may not support the physical jurisdiction or gestation of light infusion very well. When a force goes in and tries to light infuse a whole city or a whole region, it really doesn't work out very well. Some get cooked and some get under-infused. The infusion often is imbalanced in the cells or in the organs and glands and systems in general. As a result, it's very difficult to retain your health in a mass infusion status of existence. And many of the deaths that the kingdoms and everything on earth are anticipating are really the result of mass infusion attempts on the part of demons and other forces. They want humans to catch light or emulate light so they can dance in it, but it may or may not be well for the physical. In seed infusion systems, you are infused personally into every cell, organ, gland, and system. Your causal tau will help anoint it and balance out your body in the coming 8 months if it's uneven. Many seeds that were either in the system or out of the system are unevenly infused, and the seed system gear should bring about an anointing so that what is cold is warmed up with more light in the infrastructure of your body. This is to offset disease that might step down as short a time as maybe 2 years. So this is very, very important to each of you who are seeds. It was your original agreement from birth that you would receive it. It is your birthright. Don't deny yourself of this at all. It's for the physical to be well for however long you were to be here on earth. There are systems that you may have learned about, such as angioplasty systems, or systems for direct cell growth and growth out of unhealthy cells into healthy cells through DNA wave changes. These are a part of the seed system, but not in all regions at this time. Angioplasty is a very difficult broad bandwidth system of cell-by-cell transference that is available only in select regions. And Asarana may bring about events where you can receive angioplasty perhaps once a year if you so choose to attend to better the health of areas that may be ill in you in the long haul otherwise. Please avail yourself of this because it is important to your gestation and health and light motion in the long haul. There are systems of light revival, and they are available in most regions. And so you should have a system of light revival that descends to be a part of your infusion valves and infusion system in the coming few days. As you listen to this webinar again, you will anoint the healing and check it for yourself to make sure that it's available and installed and working properly. Light instruments look like pipes. The light infuses and the darkness exfuses. If a pipe that infuses is dark, you should remove it or unplug it because that's not good for your body in the long haul. You can intend that now with focus with us as the horse kingdom that are saying will be with you, will honor you, will anoint you from Iceland. We are one of the last lands that have conscious kingdoms. Horse is one of the few. There are very few other animals other than birds, some squirrels and rodents and other things, but very few mammals. There was once elk, and it's unclear how many still remain anywhere in the Icelandic tundra. We will say to you in the beauty and grace of ourselves, love you, love us, love the consciousness of kingdoms that once were. Be well with all that you are and all that you are here to experience. Witness in a planet losing its light and heading for extinction once and for all, and forevermore, as there won't be any other light alleys to hit the planet, probably in 1,000 years. And so we bless you too, and we say thank you for emulating this journey to us too, for we too are going extinct in the next 100 years. And we bless you. We're going to go to another picture here. This was taken in the Garden of Eden Botanical Garden on Maui, and it is a beautiful, beautiful lotus. The lotus says to you, seeds are like the petals of the flower. You are a part of the whole, and each of you has a petal that you are a part of. In the center of the seed is the sea mother Tao, and the little tentacles coming out of the sea mother Tao is the Tao's in action for each seed to dream what you are to dream in this life of yours. The Tao's need oneness, harmony, union, honor, and a stance of unison and light when seeds gather together. However, in the examination of the Sea Father Tao, when seeds gather together at our Dreamtime Ascension School or DAS or other physical gatherings, the recollection of unison is a lost subject because although you gathered as seeds, you failed to go into a unison formation. It may be in part because there were seedlings or seed sprouts that were there that really didn't support the concept of wholeness or oneness because they were false seeds. That may be a part of the problem, but whatever it is, we're striving to bring you to unison, and unison is also a play within you. As a seed from the star system of all seeds, you are in a picture of soul family in the unison of your cast of characters within you. And if you can emulate that unison within your seed map outward, you have a greater chance of calling beautiful experiences of unity and unison with others in your life. Sometimes others are way too barbiturated or in some circumstance of darkness and can't really emulate the unison that you're trying to project out of your casting characters from within yourself. That can be disturbing, and that's the problem with a dark light era, is there's people that want to run a kind of light that emulate a disunity either in themselves or in the groups that they aspire to dance with. It sometimes only takes one disunifying character to disturb a whole group. It is a statement to the truth that even though you may all project a stance of unison, one character of deep darkness might show up and rupture the whole experience, and that's a sad statement to the current dance of the human experience in light wave motion. It may be best to separate from those in a dark stance of light lest they disrupt your life in some other way that's really sick, and that's what we're here to remind you as a lotus of ourselves. We are of a flower kingdom. In Hawaii, the flowers are aware and we emulate light motion flowers around us, and that's beautiful to experience in the synergy of the island atmosphere. In the lotus pattern, all is one even though you have individual petals, and you notice on this particular lotus there's no dying petals. We are all healthy, we're all well. We all stand for the individuated person that we are within the stance of each petal. And we are here with our seed mother in the center holding us together as the beloved of herself. That was the original blueprint of the star seed entrance, that you were to find one another and create a lotus blueprint with a star seed mother in the centrifugal force of driving your lives forward in a commonality of unison, beauty and grace and harmony together, so you could each inspire to transfuse into beautiful moments of light wave motion fostered dreams. That's what we're here to remind you of as a lotus of Hawaii, that we too strive to create this in the island stream, and people do come and are at more peace, do find harmony, and sometimes find romance too, when perhaps they don't elsewhere in the worlds that they live within, wherever they come from. We're well aware of that because the island has an airstream of care, unison, unity, and harmony that most other regions on the earth have long forgotten. And so we bless you from Hawaii with a pink ray of unison. Now, the pink ray of unison is not the pink ray of love. It is more of a lavender, but not quite a lavender, more like a lavender pink, more like a lavender pink, which is the color of our flower. The ray of unison is a beautiful ray to bathe yourself with, to allow yourself to unify into a unison within your own motion, which will have the tendency to create a very different osprey of dream with others as you adventure out into the world in your day or your night, in your dance of life. And so we bless you from Hawaii Ne with a recollection to be as one within yourself and be in a unison of you, in the play of you, and then you will cause that in your world too. Namaste. Now we're going to come up with another picture here. This picture was from the entrance of Bryce Canyon. Bryce is a beautiful, beautiful place to have ventured to. As Surana and Pear enjoy looking at the canyons and going into Zion National Park and experience in all the beauty of the tundra and the recollection of light in a syncopated rhythm of beauty and grace. The rhythms are being restored on the planet now that had been diffused maybe 9 or 10 months ago, and you're going to see it light and chant again in nature and in other places that you enjoy major light gates around the world. The light gates folded for a time, but they're surging on again, and that's gracious for you because you can start to transfuse an upswing where maybe you had been in low wattage infusion for many, many months now. It's not hard to describe what low wattage infusion is like. It's very gentle. Your void could be replaced. New light wave DNA was brought in many cases to be full spectrum. If you haven't received your full spectrum DNA packets as a seed, you should receive them now. A full spectrum DNA brings about all rays, all colors to help you paint your world beautiful. As you dream stream in all rays that bring about balance and joy and love and harmony about who you are and how you relate to others and what it is that you wish to do in your life ahead. However, that's not our message from this webinar. Our message today is to be in a columbine of you. At this image, you see all these columbines. Some are bigger and some are smaller. You could think of it as a family. If you look at it, it almost looks like there's faces in the tops of some of the columbines. This may be a frozen or solidified image of a light infusing family. from long ago that lived in the tundra of this region. The children have the smaller columbines in the clan, and the chief or the director may have the tallest columbine. There are others that hold columbines of different structures that reflect the light motion, maybe in the kitchen or in the home or in the tundra or in the farm, or however it may have been managed in that time period. Light forms what look like columbines if you were to look at it from the top down, and if you couldn't see all the way into the physical jurisdiction of the body or the life. It sort of emulates these images of Bryce. Bryce is a major light-infused canyon that also has crossovers in time with Atlantean landscape. And so the light forms these columbines in a way as a reflection of the jurisdiction of human civilization. You will notice that they are beautiful in their own shapes and sizes and jurisdictions. They're interesting to look at, and you would like to perhaps even roam around them and see them from the base. In the grace of you and the grace of me, the structure of the siege should look something like this, but you are so far apart. The truth is that's very hard to retain, so at best you're probably one columbine almost by yourself, unless you're with your twin. And if so, then you look like just one of these all by yourself with nothing else around you. Now, sometimes holding a columbine all by yourself seems like a very difficult task, and sometimes it folds, and you end up in the light stream of your neighbors or the region, and however it's phrased, light here and there, which may or may not be best for your health and well-being as a true star seed of yourself. So what we want to do is build a structure that is the equivalent of about this dream stream of civilization, where you may be in the forefront of it all, but in the background is the emulation of a light society that is part of the star seed knowing of how light civilizations should form. You may think that that's a difficult task, but actually it's much easier than retaining your columbine of light as just one of these structures without the others. So you may find around you is a little star seed light system of civilizational incantations and prose, and a little castle of your own that forms around you in light with many columbines that are a reflection of the sea system of inauguration of light wave soul family. Now, it could be as this system forms, you're actually more gifted at calling people that can emulate soul family into your jurisdiction of where you live, because we're not going to probably do this at work for you, but we will do it in your home. You can recede into your home and be blessed in a starseed civilization, even if out in the rest of the world is a very different light motion. We can't help that because there aren't enough starseeds to rework the entire system to look like this. Although in Atlantis it was like this for everywhere humans resided or traveled or went, because they were a starseed family all of their own. You seeds know that you were supposed to be born possibly in their cycle, and there's a longing for this in your hearts that runs very deep. It's very painful to think about what perhaps you haven't known that would have been very beautiful in starseed soul family configurations. We can't create that in a world like it today as a Tao of the starseed. The Tao Mother will tell you as much as I would like to. People won't fit into this kind of system because their light has edges in it, and they're into demonic interplay and sometimes other systems that are even more delicate when it comes to light wave motion. Light waves are very delicate, and they can easily be damaged, shredded, shattered, or abused. Often, as you come home to your starseed castle and mansion, you can recast yourself from a day of systems that perhaps were less than gracious around your body. And that's the best we can offer each of you as a part of the starseed family that is extensive but around the world. A few of you are even near each other enough to do much together that is of value. Just too few of you incarnate, perhaps, to have ever considered bringing about even a community. Even though in the ideal of you, you would have liked that. You could have arranged that in your lifeline. Per and Asarana attempted to create a community together, but finally chose not to pursue that dream because it seems so near impossible in our situation and with our constant travel and healing work worldwide. We will leave that for the ascending community map makers. Even though DAS has gathered many of you to dance with, the truth is you're from foreign countries and cultures and have your own live stream, and you have your own friends and family, and it wouldn't fit in well to try to relocate and be together anyway in the current status of world economy and greed. And so we bless you with an anointment for a simulated soul family that you may gather to yourself. And this is one of Baba's final wishes that you each received these 4 soul family configurations that you may call to yourself, near yourself, in, sing, and sway, and play with. You can launch those now for those of you that were blessed by Baba at one of our dream time in your region. Allow yourself to draw to yourself the beauty and the grace with others that you've longed for, perhaps since you were little. Starseeds long for this so deeply. Is an enigma in itself to address within yourself of that need for soul family. Never manifest with your soul family, and that was very disappointing. It never manifests, perhaps even with grandparents that were gracious. It didn't manifest probably in school or in college, and now it probably hasn't manifest at work, although you try very hard on yourself to try to bring that about somehow. And then people sooner or later disappoint you because they can't be all the things that you ever needed because they're not a part of the Starseeds family and they lack so much holographic awareness. Our point about it all is that regardless of who you are or where you are, it is very difficult to understand why there are so few. Number one, and why you're so far apart, scattered around the world. Well, the planet has a way of incarnating things that are unusual here and there. It's a planetary system, so it didn't put you in the same neighborhood or region at all, and that's very sad for us as sea mother DAOs, because we would have wanted to care for our seas by giving you a region perhaps in the US, Norway, Sweden, Canada, Finland, or Iceland, where you could have been all born knowing one another, and that would have been maybe beautiful to have come together and done something sacred within. This didn't happen, and we bless you all the same to say, the planetary systems cast you here and there like seas in the wind. We couldn't really do anything about that, although we would have wanted to in our hearts for each of you, longing so deeply for soul family. Sometimes you find it with a partner, and sometimes you don't. Or if you do for a time, and then when the partner dies or leaves, it's painful for you, and it ruptures you in some other way to lose your beloved that you thought would be there like soul family for you forever, and then they're not. No soul family ever stays together forever anyway, even in Atlantean airstream. They came and they went here and there, but they found configurations that emulated what they found comfortable. So you're always looking for systems that emulate you and make you feel better. And then they don't really happen that way. We wish they would, and we wish they could, but they don't, because the configuration of light and sound doesn't emulate this kind of structure of columbines of light where everything is cared for and nurtured and brought about in a synergized motion that makes everything feel better and feel as one. So bless your origin, and bless the Sea Tao Mother, and bless the Sea Father Tao, and thank them for their support through time and now. Bless the ones that you have known, and forgive in the recognition of it all why so family of all sea origin people probably couldn't even form. Let it go so that you can be well with each that comes to dance with you, and allow them to feel a role that makes you happy nonetheless. And remember that the lost seas were once a part of a society like this. It also fell and forgot itself through time, and they too are longing to go home and be as one and do the things that maybe their anthology recollect hundreds of thousands of years ago and before they fell, and that's sad too. So love them all, as Baba said, as you're all broken birds anyway. And love yourself too, as the broken bird of you that needs to find in you the truth of why this system of starseed incarnate on a planet as difficult as this. Whatever it is that you come up with, make peace with it, and then find your sway and find your dance and find your dreams and take yourself someplace magnificent and do the things you really long for. Don't wait for anything, because it's a short time span, perhaps before your homecoming takes flight and you need to go into the other worlds one night. Okay, we're gonna bring you another picture here. It is of a waterfall in a valley in Glacier National Park that Asarana zoomed up on 4 photos, and the waterfall was saying that the seed valley of the heart of all of it is in the love within, and that was her message. She was with Per on this holiday, and he was ill at the time to enjoy the beauty of the tundra of this gracious place called Glacier National Park. That she was going to lose him, and the tundra say, well, the love of the love of the love within of the twins is really in you anyway, It's not in soul family. It's not in your beloved. It's not even in the planet, although you love us very much as Tundra. You love the Tao of earth wherever you may find her, and you love the Tao of each kingdom wherever you may find it. But ultimately, the love of you is within you, whole and complete, and not really there anywhere else, even if we mirror to you in our own existences. You recover from all heartbreak and loss and reclaiming the love of the love within. That is who you were as a star seed before you descended into this plane of reality known as Earth. The love emotion is possible through light wave transfusion. As you transfuse, you can love, emulsify, and remember the beauty and grace of the love within, and then become that, and bloom into it, and cease to be anything else fractionated ever again. That is our message to you today about light wave synergy systems. That the point of light wave synergy is to synergize. When you synergize, you're balanced. And when you're in balance, you love. And when you love outwardly, you flower and caress those that are around you. This is a natural sea status of being. And then as you cascade enough, the flowering doesn't invert, but it comes all the way around and through and blesses the you of you until the you of you and your heart space feel the love of you all the way through the experiences of those you care for through time. That's what the love of the love within is. Is the love of you shared outward and then returned unto you and blessed unto you as the full circle of love that all things were meant to be in an archetype like yours, in an archaeology like yours, and an anthology like yours, as an expression of a human being in this world that reflects mostly non-life. Here's the quagmire and the problem for each of you as starseeds that you face is that the love of the love within, as you go to flower and express it outwardly, rarely is returned. Because somehow in the shattered seedlings or seed sprouts or seed sproutlings, they just don't seem to remember how to love. These are the people that surround you day and night. Even your families were like this, and your workmates are like this, and school was like this, and maybe your associations of spiritual work sometimes are even like this. And so what can you do as a seed in yourself to fulfill upon the love that you're longing for it and seeking so deep and perhaps even desperately within yourself? When the love you share outward never gets returned and you only feel broken-hearted and dejected in the end of love affairs or other encounters of friendship or non-kinship, or even in the psychic abuse that may surround you from demon antics. Whatever it is, the resolution for you is to love you more, and that's our message as the Tao of the Seas today. That it is a hypothesis of seas to enter the world and love what's around them and try to restore love in your family, your kinship, your schools, and wherever you may have worked or gone through time. The truth is, one seed surrounded by so many other non-seeds can't generate enough love even if you wanted to fill the bowl with enough love to let you feel loved too. That's the problem that most of you emulate as you come home in your seed gates in this time period, is that you are forlorn in some ways, longing for love and not knowing where to go for it. And if you're older, it is maybe even more of a loss unless you happen to find your twin and beloved in this life. Somehow in it all, there is a lesson, and that is to learn to love you first and bless you first and generate the love first into the you of you. Then from that, flower and share some of it, but don't give it all the way until you're a desperado in yourself. Many have been desperados in the seas that have returned. Some have felt suicidal, some have felt punched out, and some have felt negated in the lifespan of themselves. There are even young children returning very sick about the loveless stature of their families or their kin, and they don't know what to do about it because there doesn't seem to be enough love that they can generate to do anything but fragment at school or at home or wherever they adventure in their little bodies. It seems worse somehow than in sound systems that most of you that are older were born into. We're not sure as to exactly why this is true, except that light speeds things up. So the return of a loveless state is instant and known by the body, when in sound it may have been delayed into a dejected partner or something else that happened that seemed cataclysmic in your youth and adult years or later on too. So we say to you that with light, everything is instant. As you love and bless and others don't love you back, you know it instantly and feel diminished or dejected or injured inside yourself. That's the difficult thing with light in an emerging light cycle, where care is not the norm of your society or school or workplace or anywhere else you may adventure. It's just not there. So what can you do as a star seed of you to make up for all the lovelessness out there? As Sarana finally came to the conclusion that she had to love herself first and foremost, love her Tao and Tao within, and if there was some love left over, perhaps she'd share it here and there, but she's not willing to just sprout it and sprout it and sprout it and then be run over like a truck that she almost died several years ago. She can be a mirror for you, that you can't afford to just keep loving everything as a seed that's emulsifying in light, and sooner or later there's just not enough left for you to stand in your truth anymore. Then you too could be mowed over when the dark light applied something you really didn't expect to encounter, and we wouldn't wish that on any of you, nor would Astarana having lived through this. So we say to you as starseeds to learn to love yourself first. Love emulsify you, your field, your body, your home first. Love anoints your altar with sacred minerals that hold the pink and lavender rays, and be in that first and foremost, and then share it as you can, because in this emerging dark light cycle, love is siphoned off and put here and there for some to enjoy, but usually it vaporizes and doesn't really remain anywhere it goes anyway. Therefore, it's kind of useless for forces to strip it because it doesn't remain. Love is a gas, it is a ray, and it has to be generated in order to be present, and few humans know how to generate love. About 1/4 of humanity knows how to generate love, and some cultures are better at generating love than others. You can think of the Polynesian people who generate love due to a biochemical system that's a part of their anthology. Hispanics sometimes generate love, but not always. Some cultures, like the natives, try to generate love, and it fades sometimes in their own existences due to gas that is not prevalent on Earth that match what they need in their bodies. It's a gaseous problem why humans can't generate love, and some anthologies are better at generating love than others. You know it when you get around somebody who generates love because you feel it in your heart. You sway with them and you say, "Oh, it's so nice to share this day with you, or this meal with you, or this time with you over coffee, because you care and I care, and we care together." When you care together, the pink gases bubble up, and they bloom and they bloom and they bloom, letting you feel as one with each other and hold together when most everything else in society seeks to shatter or degenerate you in their own light motions. Forgive it, because these humans came from many different galaxies, and the gases don't match their homeland and don't work with their biologies that are generated upon birth. If they work with you as a star seed in part, it's because you generate the pink ray or pink gases naturally from the infrastructure of your biology. For those of you going on to full spectrum DNA, you will be more likely to generate pink ray or more of the pink ray so that you can feel and cascade in the love and the joy that you're longing for within you, and maybe share it with some with others. But please, please love you first and foremost, so that you can bloom into the beautiful master that's harmonious, beautiful, and sweet, and in kinship, and the sway of soul family within you. As perhaps that's the only way that you can master that state of being in a place like Earth, where so few emulate the motions or gases or emotions that are natural for you as a star seed incarnate upon Earth. And we love you always as the Tao Sea Mother. I'm going back to our prose here. We'll tell you 3 things about all of this that we wish you to understand in this love of you, in this love of us, in this love of direction that we talk to you about is homecoming. When you think of home, it is a nest, and in the nest there's a place to heal and foster yourself, and remember to forgive, and remember to find compassion for not only them but also you in the circumstance you find yourself within. At home there is a place you can align and learn to complement the you of you into a structure that is okay to be with inside you. When you can be inside you and be comfortable and complement yourself, you can learn to know yourself and then grow yourself through time. The seeds need to have that foundation of their Tao Sea Mother and of their light wave systems in order to create that home that is a home for you to be within. That is our gift to you today. For when you step outside of the seed system, you're like a sea blowing in the wind. You are subject to this or that motions in or out of you, and you have no space to say, oh, this is only me, this is who I am, this is where I belong, and this is my foundation as a starseed. In the current light wave motion of humanity, everything is like a flag blowing in the wind. Humans blend in light. They move in and out and through of one another as they transfuse together. And no one may ever know themselves, but rather become a homogenized statement of what humanity is transfusing in light collectively. Although that's very sad, it may be the only way that they can be, because somehow the anthologies of seedlings or seed sprouts or seed sproutlings don't remember how to remain sovereign in their transfusion in light motion of field. They only know how to blend, and they blend not only with one another but also with nature. For you as seeds, you need to remain sovereign, to know who you are and realize you. If you're mixed up with somebody else, you're never going to know who you are, or will you ever going to feel comfortable in your own skin. We know many of you may not feel comfortable much of the time because you are blended with others. And in the C system, and in going home to your C system, you start to redefine who you are separate from all the others in your life stream. This is a gift also for you today, to bring in instruments that separate the you of someone else from you, and the instruments to separate the self of others from the self of you. We've never seen so much interplay of action to move the self of you into somebody else, to demonic interplay ever in our ascension days of mastery. People seem to respect that you were you and they were they, and they left cease alone to do your thing. Often you would support them in trying to understand something in the ascension airstream that they couldn't, as you dreamed your life alongside of them. And now, as light motions on, the respect of the separation of you and all others has been lost, and they are not only intertwined in each, but then they desire to intertwine inside of you too. That's very confusing, and also perhaps very tiring. So, or very much so, that you end up streaming something that belongs to another, rather than really what belongs to the you, and the airstream of your life as it would be generated by your archetype and anthology and the sea mother Tao too. So dreams can get, of course, and in many ways we're glad you all came home early and didn't wait until 2 to 4 to 6 years after this, because you would have certainly been onto a dream that wouldn't be right for you and may be harder to correct. In this time period where we say we're going to put you through a dream realignment, so that we make sure that the seed dream of you is dreamt by you and not somebody else that you know or in your life circumference. We're sad about that because there are things that maybe didn't flow to you that should have the past 2 years, but we'll bring it in an alignment in a way that you can begin to motion in the direction that is really better for you in the long haul. Seeds were designed to generate unique dreams in this lifespan of yours. Perhaps you found yourself doing something unusual in your ascension days and going someplace beautiful, visiting places you wouldn't have, or meeting up with people you couldn't have if you didn't choose to dream as a seed. Now you find yourself perhaps feeling more limited, like your dreams aren't aligning like they used to as the seed of you. And this is simply a truth that you're outside of a seed system and you're outside of the dream seed that should be generated for you as a seed of yourself. As you bring yourself into that dream seed and into the seed systems again, your dreams will begin to align as they once did and you will find yourself motioning where you need to be and where you need to go to foster what it is that you chose to experience before you were born in this life of yours in order to realize you. Each seed planned a life before you were born that would take you here and there and here and there into partnership or having children or not into circumstances where you could express yourself that worked for you in different career paths you may have experienced into different scenarios of spiritual growth that fostered your understanding of forgiveness and compassion. You all planned your life very carefully, and it's time to return to that plan so that you live it out until the end. And that is also a blessing for you today, to bring you into your original life plan as the seed that you are. So as you return home at the end of this life, you will say, okay, I lived everything that I had planned, and nothing was missed, and nothing was escaped. And I did this with my Tao and Tao of birth. Now I return to them, and I say, oh, I did dream that, and I did experience that, and I learned this and that, and I thank you for this plan. That's where we want to return you, because if things keep going the way that they have been, you'll be so far off track that you probably won't finish your plan in this life cycle of you. There is one more thing we would like to share with you. You are beautiful human beings regardless of what you've experienced, and some seeds fell out that have returned to us many, many years ago now. Life didn't necessarily flow exactly the way that you would have hoped or we would have wanted to dream it for you. Regardless of your age, however you fell out, please bless the experience for whatever it was, and bless yourself, and let yourself return home, and let yourself realign your dreams in a new direction that work better for you in this time of this lifespan of you. There is never a right or wrong experience. There's never a right or wrong path. Seeds know this intrinsically. It's whatever you have experienced from birth until death, that is an experience you can still extrapolate about, regardless of whether it went in the direction that was planned or that you desired in your heart to have flowed. Sometimes there are difficult experiences planned so that you learn and grow through them in your own lifespan too. Wherever it is you've been and wherever it is that you're going, allow them to align within the seed system in your own knowing, and allow the seed Tao to help you foster this so that the direction that unfolds ahead is new and in alignment with your seed origin and not something else. There are those that still seed origin and still the plan of the dream that you were to live. If you can identify who that individual is, maybe you take your seed plan back now through time and say, no, this was the life I was supposed to live. This is my seed origin and this was my birth plan. and this is what it is I will live from now on, however much of it I can foster, given my age and stature in life, and the dreams I would like to spin to be within and realize myself within this life of mine. We bless you with that truth because there may have been many experiences that really weren't meant for you and wasn't a part of your birth plan. There can be marriages and children that aren't a part of your birth plan. There can be jobs you've done that weren't a part of your birth plan. This is a very confusing reality, and parents overlay their children with stream of things they want to accomplish rather than you. And so maybe you accomplished what they wanted to accomplish rather than what you would have really liked to do if your seed dream was in motion from the day you were born into the day you matured and went off to fly and dream your life the way you wished to. It's a very sick reality in many ways with dream-stealing notions. People see them in neighborhoods or whatever and pull them to their own children and leave them there to go off and walk the path that you were meant to. Perhaps in your early 20s and 30s. Perhaps you found yourself back on path as your ascension journey took off and you fixed it. But then somehow to bring it into the full alignment of whatever you might have done that may have not even been possible then. And so we say to you, whatever you lived is still valid. Whoever you married or had children with, or wherever you went to experiment with other lifestyles or other places to live, whatever you did in terms of your work is still a valid experience to realize within. And so as a seed, make peace with whatever was and forgive it for whatever it taught you. Choose to find your way to a space within yourself that you know yourself well enough to know what you need to dream with your Tao and Tao within, and the Sea Mother Tao and the Sea Father Tao, so that your dreams from now on are a sea spawning of you realizing. Realization is not really available to many humans in this cycle. It is difficult to realize anything if you don't have a stage play, a wheel of cast of characters within yourself in the first place. So realization is limited in this cycle. That's a sad status of a planet that isn't going to realize many things because there aren't enough humans to realize in a system of shattered eggs that arrived here due to consideration to intergalactic travel that showed up on Earth and then procreate it. You cannot do anything about that. You cannot realize for another. You cannot cause someone to awaken and suddenly remember to forgive or find compassion. You can't do anything but really understand you and forgive the status of existence on a planet like this, where if you have awareness or the capacity to do what it is you may be able to do within you, because you are a seed with archaeological and anthropological knowing that most others don't have, or someone folded in their anthology long ago, and perhaps before they ever arrived on Earth. And so we say to you, Realize you and don't realize another, and don't expect any other person to realize anything about what you've come to understand within you, because they may or may not ever understand unless they too are a seed realizing themselves through time. And so we bless you with that understanding to let go of your need to trigger others to do something that maybe their anthology was never meant to do. Those that aren't meant to do what it is you're here to do then fumble or bumble, or sometimes end up very angry at you because they really don't know within themselves what it means to awaken, to ascend into motion, into light motion, and transfuse to realize yourself. They don't understand what that means, and if you try to bring them in your airwave and give to them what you know, you may create sick dramas because they're not ready for what it is that you're learning to motion as a seed of yourself. So be careful how you sway with others and be respectful of what their limitations are, and then you will have more of a nature or stanza of harmonizing others rather than pushing them maybe into angles of existence that they're not ready for within themselves. That's the best we can say for each of you, and as Sarana understands this well. One of the problems for her is known as falsies. People that took on documentation or anthological information that appeared as seeds when they really weren't, and then you go to foster them as seeds and they fracture or fragment because they're not ready for the motions, because it's not their sincere anthology. This is a time period of a lot of manipulation where demons moved origins around and moved other things around that were meant for you even as seeds. Even in your youth, some of what you were perhaps to bring through for you to dream the dreams you were in your young adulthood got moved around, and they never were fostered then in this life of yours. It is a huge stage play of manipulation that occurs within the human airstream today, and you can't control that either, other than to return to your seed origin and find your way back to your center, and then find your way back to the dream you were supposed to have this lifetime. There were many times you fell out of seed systems and went back. If you examine your own life, your own timeline, there may be 4 to 6 times you fell out and went back and then brought yourself into a realignment of dream and went up and did something new or different because you realized that the dream you were dreaming wasn't really yours from your seed, but someone else's you ended up living. You may find yourself in that position yet because as we speak, as we speak, because seeds may have been taken off track again as light began to motion 4 years ago. So it's time to bring yourself back on track and figure out where you were supposed to be and realign your dreams to propel you forward in the direction you were meant to live as a seed, rather than somebody else living your dreams that really don't understand what they were meant for in the first place. Your dreams are for you to realize you, and a realization dream over there on someone else perhaps only complicates them in some way that isn't good for them anyway, because they're not ready for those motions or that level of awareness. That's hard to even imagine, but that seems to be going on worldwide. And there isn't a seed that hasn't returned home that doesn't have the airstream of realization projected on someone else or many others in some cases. So that is not good for them and not good for you not to be in your realization airstream. So we wish to bring you back into an instrument of realization airstream so that you can be in alignment with you, to be where you need to be and go where you need to go and dream the way you need to be to understand you through time. Understanding you is personal, but understanding you is also a recognition of all the encounters you've had that may have been from hurtful to painful to beautiful, and what they meant to you, and what you learned from them, and what you learned about yourself in terms of your own capacity to forgive and find compassion and make peace with each experience you've ever had in life. That's what the path of realization does, is to make peace with everything through time. When you finally make peace with all of it, you will be in a more constant airstream of bliss wherever you go and whoever you may be with and wherever you may dance in this lifeline of yours. That's one of the things a realized person causes, is a sentiment of bliss within themselves that is the result of understanding wherever they needed to forgive and make peace with every life experience now and then and forever in themselves. In that peace, it can be very influential and causing peace in others that may not be peaceful at all. But the path of realization is for you as a seed to master and not someone else. The statement that one enlightened one leads to enlightened people is a grand lie. Many enlightened humans have to realize themselves, and that's really just the truth of the quagmire of this reality. And so we leave you with these thoughts today as a star seed of you. You are from a foreign place that really didn't belong on earth and maybe in this time period of earth at all. Perhaps you felt like a foreigner since the day you were born and wondered why your parents are so ill and why your brother or sister is unwell and why nothing seems right in this family scenario of yours, or school of yours, or college of yours, or workplace of yours, and why is everybody so dysfunctional? Why can't they care, and why can't they make peace with each other? Why can't they join hands and just find their way above their resentments, their judgments, their complaints, and their strife? Why do they hurt so much and then sometimes cause you to hurt too? And why over all the quagmires of a reality like this of broken seas? They are just broken seas, and they don't know how to be anything but that, because somewhere in their anthologies it all fell apart, and they keep replaying that fall apart scenario in everything they do and everywhere they go. They don't know any better because holograms are like records of something that repeats again and again until it's repaired and healed and recorded in the anthology that something has changed. The problem with the broken seeds is they have no method of repairing what occurred long ago, and all they can seem to do is live it again and live it again and live it again wherever they go. That's very sad for the sea mother to witness among the friends and people you've been born to and lived with, gone to school with, and worked with, and wherever you've been is they just can't seem to mend. But you can. However, sometimes they're so caustic, it hurts you a lot too, and you have to spend a lot of time mending over the broken sea actions of people who don't understand compassion or love or care or anything else, it seems. Whoever they are and however broken they are, you've also probably discovered through time that you really can't fix them. You can try to heal them or be in a healing position, but ultimately everyone has to heal themselves. All healing is holographic in the end. And if the hologram is broken apart, there may be parts of it that just can't mend. And so whoever you healed or attempted to heal, who failed to heal, or whoever they are, forgive them too for being in a broken anthem of something they can't fix in this lifeline of theirs. And if you let it break you, forgive yourself for letting yourself get broken in a dance with someone else broken in an anthology that maybe can't mend in this cycle upon earth or maybe any cycle ahead. We don't really know, do we? Forgive the pain and the suffering that being with many broken people causes, as it creates wounds even in childhood and into adulthood that sometimes don't seem to mend. Baba brought in lifelines of heat for the spine to help to release the broken memories that you recorded in your own nervous system so that you could begin to motion beyond them in this lifeline of yours. And we're going to instate another kind of seed healing that will allow for the erasure and removal of painful life memories, because as you motion light, they come up as a seed and tend to want to wave again and recreate themselves almost more rapidly than perhaps you can forgive them and let them go in the dreaming of your life. Therefore, we're bringing in systems to help erase the past, pain, and sound instruments of ascension in this lifeline of yours, so that you can motion light and not recreate experiences again in this dreaming of your existences here on earth. There are many systems we're going to continue to bring in and add to the light transfusion gear that you are motioning towards. It is a new type of system because sound-based instruments don't really work as light motion begins to rip-roar around you. So it needs to be modified and changed and away from experiences of demonic actions, so the demons don't interplay with your transfusion anymore. that will be helpful to you, because demons are often sour, and that may make you sour as you transfuse or feel blue when it really isn't you. It's just light motioning over some demon system that's very sour in negativity or darkness. Is a part of the demonic world. Demons really weren't meant to transfuse, and some of them are attempting to, and they really need to be removed from the general populace. This is an action that the planetary Tao and Tao have to take for the sake of humanity. As seeds, we just want to separate into seed systems and not participate in demonic transfusion or other kinds of transfusion that are really not well with your own light motions. And so our system will extract what isn't in alignment so that you can be more at peace and find your truth and realize you feeling safe enough to be within you. And feel yourself alone and separate from all others so you can know who you are in all life choices and all life circumstances. You are a beautiful seed, and we bless you as such, and we bless you to find the journey to the conclusion of your lifeline as a realization stanza of you until you are claimed, realized through time. What it takes to be claimed, realized is not something that we can define. It's very, very personal between you and your Tao of birth and your Tao of cause and the Tao of you and the Tao of the sea system. But that is your spiritual goal this lifetime of yours. And we bless you to fulfill upon them, and don't get off track. Keep going, keep understanding, keep forgiving, and finding compassion and making peace with each person in each experience. Learn whatever it teaches you about you, for you are the you of the you that is trying to understand you, and really and truly there's nothing else but you. Everything else is really only a mirror of something about you. You have yet to understand and forgive and make peace with. We leave you with these thoughts today as our blessed seeds that have returned home, and we will have more to speak to you about in our next pre-recorded webinar in a couple of weeks. Please take gentle care of you because you are precious to us in all ways. Take care of your bodies by feeding it what's right to keep your mind and your health in balance. Please take care of yourself by giving yourself the environment that makes you feel beautiful to live within. Please take care of yourself by finding your way to work that appeals and makes you happy to align with day to day. Please give to yourself beautiful friends of kinship and soul family sway. Please dream the dreams that you long for in your heart that will fulfill you in this life of yours. Please realize whatever you need to realize to grow out of what it is so for you, and with that, and with this, we bless you. Namaste.